Are we ready in here? Yeah. All right. We have defensive coordinator Chris Hampton, who is today named a finalist by Football Scoop for National Defensive Coordinator of the Year. Coach will make an opening statement. For those who have questions, please state your name and affiliation. We, of course, have the microphones.
Just thank everyone for coming out this afternoon. Obviously, we're excited to be here. Excited to be in the Cotton Bowl. It's been a fantastic experience so far. I think it's the best bowl game there is. I've heard that before I got here, and after we got here, the hospitality and experience has been second to none of any bowl that I've ever been to or been involved with as a player or as a coach. So I think it's been a great experience for us. I think our kids are excited to play. As a coach, it's a great opportunity going against a fantastic school in USC. Got a great offense, one of the best offensive coordinators probably in college football history. I think he's coached 3 or 4 Heisman Trophy winners. Obviously, Caleb Williams won the Heisman Trophy this year. He's a dynamic player. We know the threat that he possesses. They've got a lot of weapons around him. They can throw the ball well. They run the ball extremely well, probably a little bit better than people anticipate who don't watch the film. Do a great job blocking on the perimeter. So we've got our hands full. They're great statistically in just about every category, first down offense, third down offense, red zone offense, scoring offense, total offense. They don't have very many weaknesses. So we just got to do a great job of being the best version of ourselves, I think, on the second. And, just go from there. Any questions?
Chris, Stephen Hawkins with the AP in Dallas. How much of a difference does it make if Caleb Williams plays or not for USC?
We're preparing as if he is. I got that question the other day. We're just preparing. I haven't even thought about if he doesn't play. If he doesn't, then the game plan will be the same. It wouldn't change for us what we're doing. But we're preparing as if he is going to play.
And as far as you've been around this program for a few years now, and you've seen the development of Tulane, and how important has this season been, especially after the struggles of last year, and for this team to come back and bounce back the way it has to get in this position?
It's been the best I've ever seen. I think we got a great group of kids, first and foremost. We're really a player-led bunch, and it's been our seniors, our captains, Nick Anderson, Dorian Williams, Larry Brooks, Macon Clark, Michael Pratt. Those guys have really led us, really starting last year in January, I think they were embarrassed by the way that we played last season, by our record. We were much better than our record, but our record was our record. We were a 2-10 team. That's what we were. And so I think everyone was motivated for this season, and it started in January in off season. And it's shown throughout the season.
Hey, Chris. Joseph Hoyt, Dallas Morning News. Obviously, this bowl season, we saw the transfer portal opening. There was recruiting. There's been a lot of distractions off the field, I guess you could say. Do you guys look at this as an opportunity to kind of build momentum into next season? Definitely.
I think we've got a great culture, and we talk about on defense culture override scheme. And I really believe that there's great schemes everywhere. But the culture that you have in your program, I think first and foremost, Coach Fritz has started that, and built the right culture. I don't know if we've had anyone in the transfer portal. And so we haven't had that distraction that a lot of programs have. We've been blessed with that. And yes, but I think that we've had a great recruiting class. Probably the best one since I've been here, I would think, just watching the guys we were able to sign. We got some guys that typically in certain years we weren't able to get. We may have wanted, but we lost them to other people. And this year they came. And I think as the fan support we've had this year, we've had a couple of sellouts. We had never had that before. Obviously, we're 11-2. We're playing in the Cotton Bowl, won the conference championship. So I think that the program's headed in the right direction, and I think we can do it again.
Gary Smith with TimesPicayune.com. Another thing USC does really well is just not turn the ball over.
Correct.
How important is it going to be to try to change that?
Yeah, that's the big thing we talked about. I think maybe in our first meeting we had was about winning the turnover takeaway battle and creating some takeaways. Those things are game by game. It changes. They haven't done it much all season. They hadn't played in a long time. Hopefully we can create some, and take the ball away from them, force some fumbles. We've showed some clips of some opportunities that maybe teams didn't take advantage of. That's the thing. They're really good. They're well coached. You have to take advantage of opportunities when you get them, and we can't leave them on the field.
Any additional questions for Coach Hampton?
Joseph Hoyt, Dallas Morning News. You mentioned you're only preparing for Caleb Williams. What have you seen from Caleb Williams and the challenge that he's going to present?
Everything. I mean, no. I mean, he can. I mean, he's really, really athletic. You know, first and foremost, he can avoid the rush as good as anyone. You know, probably in football. You know, not just college football, maybe NFL as well. He's got real arm talent. He can throw the ball down the field. He's got great pocket presence. You know, he doesn't get rattled. You know, I think at Oklahoma they used him a lot as a designated quarterback run guy. You know, when he first got there, you know, he would come in for Spencer Rattler and run the football. He's not as much of a design run guy now, more so than he does scrambling. You know, and he's developed into a great quarterback. You know, reading and going through his progression and checking the play. They allow him to check the play a lot. But I mean, I think just him. You know, when the coverage breaks down, he can scramble and create plays with his legs, find guys open downfield. And then sometimes when guys come free, they miss him. You know, he's really hard to get down. He's like a Ja Morant, Kyrie Irving type guy, you know, that he can just make you miss. And so we've got to do a great job of tackling. We've tried to simulate that as much in practice as we possibly can, but it'll be a little different on the second, I'm sure.
Looking back at the season, you look back at that Kansas State game, you guys played a team that obviously won a Big 12 championship here just a couple of weeks ago. You held Deuce, Vaughn and that group to 7 points. What confidence did that kind of give this group, and how did you guys carry that over through the whole season? And what do you tell your guys about facing another Power 5 team like that?
You know, really, we haven't talked about being a Power 5 or not a Power 5 or whatever. But, in it's game by game. So, really, that game doesn't do a whole lot for us right now. But I do think that our kids gained a lot of confidence from that win. You know, just confidence in themselves. And I think we expected to win that game. We really did going into it. Maybe people on the outside didn't, obviously. You know, they were really good, and we weren't really good the year before. And so, but I think that game just kind of helped us prove to ourselves that we were, the type of defense that we thought we could be. Because we knew they were really good, and they are. And so we played well that night. We just have to do it again. We tackled well. That was the big thing we did against Kansas State. There were some things on film that we didn't fit properly. We didn't do well, but we overcame with playing with great effort and tackling. And that's going to be the same thing we've got to do on the seconds. We've got to play with great effort, and we've got to tackle. That'll be the key, I think, to the game.
Coach, over here, Kevin Trainer with the Cotton Bowl. You played a lot of different teams with varying offensive philosophies and mindsets. Does USC remind you of anybody you faced, or how do they compare to some of the teams that you went up against this year? I think schematically maybe they're similar to SMU. Probably a little bit similar to SMU, but the quarterback for SMU couldn't run like this guy. This guy can run more like John Rice Plumlee from Central Florida, but their offense isn't the same, really. More like a SMU, I would say, style of offense. But the quarterback is, what makes them different, I think.
Coach Hampton, thank you for your time. We
Thank
appreciate
y'all. All right.
some of the yesterday for our assembled media. Exit to the right to the Cowboys locker room for defensive player interviews for Tulane. Thank you.